I'm sure, as things have undergone a sea change during this turbulent time of pandemic, we will collect pearls of wisdom in this session. Over to you, Radhika ma'am.
So I'm going to really talk about the impact of this pandemic on young children, their parents. So first part of my talk is based on what is the impact that the children go through. Then I'll talk of the electronic devices and the impact that it has on our young children, and finally on online classes. So I need to tell everybody this is a new future for all of us, a totally new norm. And this global pandemic is a phenomena we all cannot ignore. Technology has transferred all of us to a seamless world. Never before has a crisis of this dimension been felt by families around the world, and more than 1 billion learners have been affected worldwide. There is there's unrest and a total disruption of normal life around the globe. My concern lies mainly on offsprings and their well-being. So children have been impacted greatly, and it has changed their world. Just because they are unable to express their feelings and are more resilient, we cannot take them for granted. You may not be able to perceive the insecurities and uncertainties that may be building in their systems. We cannot sit back and do nothing to help them, because how we deal with them is going to determine how they emerge through this trauma. Missing school, the sense of structure and stimulation, the social support of friends, which is so essential for their mental well being, the outdoor activities, outings with parents, all this develops a sense of upheaval in the children and total unrest. To add to all these, so I was telling you that what parents feel, what the parents say in front of children, greatly impacts the children. And a reaction of that impact on the children may not necessarily occur right away. It may happen after weeks, months, even after years. So, however real our worries and fears may be, we need to speak to our children in an honest and a reassuring manner. Allow them to know you're taking all precautions and nothing is going to go wrong. To look out for signs of withdrawal, anxiety, disturbances, fear or changes in their eating habits. Are they asking too many questions? Are they worrying? Are they worrying about this situation? The younger ones, are they clinging, crying, or throwing unusual tantrums or becoming defiant? Even if they are not, don't be. Today is the responsibility of every parent and teacher to sustain and utilize. Home, please focus on the following. And this is primarily for the parents. Please pay attention to their emotions, talk about their feelings, let them express themselves, listen to them, validate their thoughts and fears. Don't hide your feelings either. Acknowledge it's hard and that we are all anxious. Then explain how we all are staying safe if we take precautions. Allow things and activities to be done at home. I mean, the children are obviously looking forward to going out for dinners with you. So create a restaurant scene, cook something interesting for them. I mean, you can have make believe play, have family games for togetherness, fun games, etc. Encourage virtual social interaction. This is so important to avoid social isolation. So WhatsApp videos or Zoom chats or FaceTime, etc., with their friends, with their relatives, and organize play activities, play dates, maybe a party, snacks, toys, balloons, whatever you can to keep them entertained. Also, physical activity at this juncture, when they cannot get out, has to be, promoted within the home. There has to be yoga, aerobics, anything, and you have to participate alongside the child for the child to have it as an enjoyable experience. Now, allow a lot of stories, art, craft, building activities, and of course, parents, the biggest gift that you can give to your child is that of reading. Help them and introduce them to reading. That is what you are going to really, your child will be blessed if he can begin reading, because it is going to open a huge world of learning for the child. Now, there's very important to show a lot of appreciation and gratitude for whatever they achieve and help them build a very high self-esteem. Come to the second part, which is the online, the use of gadgets. I would first like to talk about the screen time that the children are spending during classes and post that. So today is the finger age. And our young people are marvelous, marvelous with gadgets. Of course, this includes most of you young parents as well. Amid all this confinement, things can fall apart. Frustrations are building in adults. As a result, children's developmental needs get sidetracked. That's what we need to be most conscious about. As parents, our coping mechanism chooses the path of least resistance. Therefore, electronic devices are used generously to keep children out of the way, to keep them cheerful and calm. The children stay engaged in TVs and tablets and mobiles, etc., etc. Now, children obviously take a cue from the adults around them. And these devices can easily be termed as electronic babysitters. We don't realize the damage that is happening to their minds and leading to children getting addicted to screens at a very early age. Some parents, however, feel proud of the fact that their offsprings are so tech savvy. But of course, there is no escape from electronic devices. That's a reality in this world because of the manner in which our lives have become dependent on them. And this pandemic situation has pushed this further to a phenomenal height. Scientific research shows that children go through serious developmental risks if they are not regulated in the use of these gadgets, especially in pre-primary and primary school years. So we need to be smart in management of these devices to enable us to outsmart the children before our tech smart children outsmart us. Now, that doesn't mean that, in terms of technology, you need to outsmart them, but in terms of the management of time that we allow our child to go through these devices. Greater the stimulation, stronger the wiring. And excessive use of gadgets affects the wiring of the child's brain. Then there's cognitive delays, attention disorders, increased impulsive behavior, and a decrease of regulatory behavior. So I would say don't let technology hijack your child's development. Children hooked on to gadgets have other issues, visual and auditory in terms of the ears and visual in terms of the eyes. This overload of use of the visual and auditory needs leads to a neurological imbalance since other senses are not used as much. And this leads to a weak immune system. It impacts them adversely. A false sense of achievement, excitement through games, because all these games on computers and other devices are, they're planned for a one-on-one playing. So this leads to addiction and deprives the child of real achievements and alienates the child socially, and he cannot associate with the world outside. Therefore, these children are less likely to have friends. They don't make friends, they don't interact with the world outside or take part in other creative spheres. And not having friends leads to them becoming reserved, less empathetic, and overall children become less connected to the world. The question is, where do we stop? Gadgets cannot be removed from their lives. That is a reality. But parents can control the time the children spend in using them. Not just the mother. It's not just the mother's job. Creating things like all these fancy toys that you get in the market, it's a treat to have all of them. But when a child creates out of cardboard and papers and cloth and, constructs something, it gives much more satisfaction, and it is growing of the child's brain, developing the sensorial skills. And story also, I mean, just showing them, putting a story for them on the video, and passively he's listening to something is not at all a very contributory thing or a growth process for the child. Unless, of course, after the child has seen the story, there's a discussion with the parent. But if the child can create or add on to story, mother and child, or a father and a child create and build a story, that is what is developing his creative skills. Finally, parents, you are the strongest behavioral role models. In these trying times, our resilience, not losing patience, not losing patience or showing frustration will have to be the mantra. So we go to online learning. Remote or online learning actually is the catalyst today, which addresses the needs of learning and being connected, and comes as a savior from this tsunami like attack in our lives. Online learning plays an important role in keeping kids engaged and frees them from mental stress. We have to also think of all of you parents, because we do not wish to add more stress in your lives. Since we understand some of you are working from home or are pressurized with numerous other chores of the house. So most of the activities, I'm sure Allen House is doing the same. We are planning simple activities, but they should make learning more joyful and uncomplicated. And this by no means is an easy task. It's a challenge that we have accepted. Although, a virtual approach that emphasizes the inclusion of a good amount of learning materials and an emphasis on interactive experiences can give successful results. A lot of creativity and exploratory activities to follow in order to balance out the more academic kind of lessons that we have. It's also important to include sensorial sensory activities, focusing on the refinement of their senses, practical life activities for developing competence in daily life, theme-based activities on social studies, science, etc., makes online learning quite a joyful experience. My own experiences with my preschool classes has been brilliant. We've got overwhelming, appreciation from our parents, and our children are so happy, so connected with the teachers. And I'm sure Allen House is doing the same. So congratulations to all of you. But I do want to applaud all the teachers, because they're doing a phenomenal job in the absence of, class resources and materials. Using online tools, planning and designing and researching, procuring apps, creating PDFs to make learning for children interesting and engrossing takes up a great deal of time that you can even imagine. Try and help them learn to be independent. We need to let you know one thing, that you are not alone in this journey. We're all there together. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak so much. And I hope it is going to be of some value. Thank you so much, Ruchi.
Thank you, ma'am. It was real pearls of wisdom. We are all together, in a way, trying, in those times, trying to find possibilities to grow, possibility to climb. And I cannot but read what Vincent Mellor said about sow, eat heather, see what has never been seen, depart, be lost, but climb. Dear parents and teachers, to all those who are with us. We're all going through uncertain times, most definitely we know. But believe me, together, when we come together with simple things like, with doing simple things like maybe eating together, sleeping well, embracing silence, reading together as ma'am said, we will, we will be able to strive through these paths. And I think for parents, ma'am has said enough that how they can be role models, guide on sides, for teachers also who have really shown their resilience and the real strength, what we had for all these years heard teachers stood for. No more our connect, our competence, our cooperation, our clarity, and our convictions, our EQs. They have turned into skills. What a beautiful moment for our teachers. Kudos to one and all. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. And thank you, dear parents, dear teachers. God bless.